Okay, we're going to be doing this little canvas project. It looks like this. It's you know, sunflower. This one has a green background. This one I'm going to put a blue background because you can do either. So what I've done so far is just poured, it's a blank canvas because you're going to start with that. I've poured a light blue, a sky blue. These are all the party paints from Gare. I'm using sky blue and I'm using medium blue. Okay, that's what I have on this plate. Now I'm going to kind of mix both of them. Actually, I'm going to do the sides first, just to cover them. So this is what you're going to do. You want to cover your sides first. Okay, now I'm going to cover this. Just cover it with these two blues. You can just put it on any way you can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but don't glob it on real heavy because we're going to make a little texture type background. So as you can see on this green one, it has some you know, see how it's got some like little texture to the background. That's what we're going to do with this too. Now, I'm putting mostly the blue, the light blue. Make sure you get all your white spots. And then I'm going to add, I don't know, a little bit of this darker blue in there. Okay, so you can see what it looks like now, like this. Now I'm going to take this little, it's a, just a, you know, a card. It's a, like an old hotel card. So it's got, you know, it's got some flexibility to it anyway. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to make some X's. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to give it a little bit of texture, not just a plain background. You can leave the, you could just leave the plaid background the way I just had it also, but this just kind of gives it something different. It's just going back and forth with some texture. Getting kind of all the, if you do it a second time, you might get a little bit more, a little less texture, but a little bit more, you know, just to make it, mix it up a little. Okay, I think that's good, just the way that is. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do my background. So you can see, it's sort of got the same background as the green. That's the same way I did the green. And then I'm doing the blue. So when that dries, we'll get started with the rest of it. Because after that's dry is when you want to trace your pattern on it. Okay, now that this is dry, the second step of this is to trace the pattern. So you're going to put your pattern down. I've already traced it on the tissue paper with pencil. Now I'm going to put it onto my canvas. And now I'm going to trace it with a black Sharpie marker. You want to make sure that it's going through. So trace a piece of it and check it, and it is going through enough. It's just to use as a guide. You're probably going to paint over it. Go right to the edge. It's really quick to trace. Okay, now I'm going to move that. You can see it's traced on here. You can see the lines kind of. It's good enough to see the lines that you can, you know, follow. Then I'm going to take a, my thing ain't quite dry. All right, now you're going to take, I'm going to take these two yellows. I'm going to take This one here is the bright yellow. These are Gare's party paints. And I'm going to take the mustardy yellow because I don't want it too bright. Okay, and now I'm going to take probably like I'd say, you don't want too big of a brush, but you do want a round brush, maybe a number 8 brush. Okay, now what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to start with the mustard color. Okay, so that's going to put my first coat on, and it's going to be a little bit heavy, so that you just want to paint the petals going all like starting from the inside going outwards. Now the only thing about canvas is you got to wait for drying time. So, but I'm going to paint these. I'm going to leave a little space where my lines are, because you know, otherwise I lose them. I lose the lines, and you want to be able to see them. That if you need a pattern, you're going to have to, you know, see those lines. So this will cover the blue better, this first coat with the mustard. So you're just more or less filling that in, filling in the leaves. You see the first coat is kind of streaky. That's just the way it is on canvas, especially with the, you know, having the blue underneath. If you were on white, it might be a little bit better, but with the blue underneath, you have to, you know, you might have to do a couple of coats. So still going with the mustard here. If you go out of the lines, don't worry about it. If you want to go over your lines a little bit so you don't see the black marker. But you just need to go over them slightly. You don't have to go over them too much. Now you can either dry this with a hair dryer, or you could just sit and let it dry before you put your next coat. So I am gonna go find a hair dryer. But so when this dries, we'll put on a second coat. Okay, now this is my third coat that I'm doing now, and you want to put mostly this yellow. You're going to put the bright yellow, this bright yellow, and you're going to go mostly on the edges. So you can see I'm doing the edges of the bright with the bright yellow. I'm making sure I go right to the tip, because I do want the tip painted with the bright yellow too. So now I'm covering it with the yellow, but now I'm going to still take a little of this, even though I got the bright yellow in there, I want to get the a little bit more mustard back in. Okay, so the mustard's on the bottom because it's covering the blue and stuff, but you want it mostly, you want the bright yellow to show. And then I'm putting some mustard in there, just very light through the yellow. Okay, so we'll do this one now. So you're putting the bright yellow, you know, use it's a very small canvas. They're easy to maneuver, so you can turn them any way you want. Be careful, because you do get them splattered. You you know, you can get some splatter. It usually washes off pretty easy once this is the background is dry. Just to make these a little more interesting, I might splatter them at the end anyway, because I like that look. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in here with a little mustard, just to give it some streaks of the mustard. Like I said, if you can wait till it's dry a little longer, it might look better, but I kind of like that streaky look, so that's kind of what I'm going for. So I'm doing this one now, again with the yellow, the bright yellow. Okay, that's it on that. Now, that's gonna dry also. As you can see, like I was telling you, I have a little bit of, I'm gonna take clean water and a sponge, and I got a couple of streaks right there. Just see how you can wash that off? You can wash that off as long as you're careful. You can wash anything you got outside of your design. You can usually wash it off if it's still a little damp. Especially, you know, if this background is dry, usually you can wash off any color. Okay, now I'm going to take two other colors, and I'm going to take this orange, a little bit of orange, and a little bit of brown. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Now I could just sponge this on, but instead I'm just going to put a little bit of each color on there. I go with mostly orange, and then I'm going to kind of spread the brown into it. Now it's up to you whether you want to come off the side of the painting. You might want to, if you know, unless you want to just keep that whole side blue. So that's my orange. Again, this color, I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to add a little bit more brown to it. Okay, so this is going to dry before the next step. Okay, now this is dry for the most part, so now I'm going to add another coat of orange. I'm using a kind of a big brush because I'm just kind of pouncing it on. Now I'm going to add some brown in there. Now I'm going to take a small sponge, and I'm going to dip it in both, like a little bit of orange and a little bit of brown, and then I'm going to do this so that it looks kind of, you know, so it has both colors, both tones in it. And you can play with it a little till you get the colors you like, but I just want the brown and the orange in there. And that's about all I'm going to do to that. Now, now that's going to dry also, and then I'm going to use the Fun Writer with the black to outline it. Okay, now I'm going to use the outliner. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to, when I outline, I'm going to do scattery lines. You know, thin scattering lines. When you're using this, you know, because I don't want it to be perfect, when you're using the Fun Writer bottle, slant it. Anything you do this way, if I hold it up like this, it's going to come out really thick and heavy. So I'm slanting it to get, you know, thin lines. Okay, now when I go over this, see, I'm just going to make a long line, but I'm going to make a double line sort of. So see how I'm doubling up on the line, because I don't want it to be a perfect line. I kind of want a little extra lines in there. Sometimes they even go a third time. I'm going to put a few in here also. I see I got some blue paint on my yellow. See, because this yellow's dry, I was able to wipe that off, and now I'm getting blue everywhere. Okay, now I'm going to put a few lines in this one also. Okay, now, so I got my two paintings done. Now you can either leave them like this, or I'm going to do something more to them, okay? So what I'm going to do to them is, first, I did this one very early today, and I want it to look a little more like that one. So I'm going to add a little color in there because I kind of want them to match. So I'm going to make this one a little closer to that one. Okay, see, now they look a little bit more alike, but one's more alike, but one of them's dry. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is, now I wasn't going to do this, you don't have to do this, but I think it's going to look nice and make the colors, make them more like they match. So now I'm going to take some black, and I'm going to put a trim around them, because I just think it would look nice if it's trimmed, which means I didn't really have to do the side at all. If you are going to do this trim, then you don't have to do the sides, but I wasn't sure. So I'm dipping it into the black, the sponge, okay? And I'm just going to go right over this edge so that it's just over the edge a tiny bit. And then I'm going to cover the rest of it, okay? Like this. So I'm going to go over the edge because I want it to show on the front side just a little bit. Then I'm going to go down and cover the bottom part, okay? So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm leaning the sponge in a little bit to get that edge of black, okay? And then I'm going down and getting the rest of it with the sponge, with the black, okay? You can do a thicker line too, but this one's kind of thin. I'm just doing a thin one. Okay, so you can see it's got a little black border on it. Go back and check it. Make sure you got all the black, covered it. Okay, put that one aside, and I'm going to do that to my green one too, because I think they'll look cute if they match. So I'm going over the edge a little, and then down in here. I do the edge first so I don't mess it up. Just slide the sponge across and go down. It's very quick and easy to do. Okay, slide the sponge down. Make sure you kind of gut it underneath, you're holding it. This size painting is very easy to do, this size canvas, because you get to hold it, you know, when most of the times you can't pick it up and move it around. So again, going across so that there's a border, and then underneath, okay? So now, there's my two paintings. Now, I'm gonna do one more step. Okay, this is how I splatter it. I use a toothbrush, a clean toothbrush. Now, as you can see, okay, this one's not splattered. This one I already splattered with black and white. That's what I splattered it with. I used the white first, then I splattered it with black. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, so it's optional. I do like it, so I'm going to splatter this one too. So I'm going to show you how that's done. So you dip the toothbrush a little bit in the white. Don't make it too thick, because if it's globby, it's going to come off in globs. Now, I just do this to splatter. I just dip it and then just flick my finger over it. You can see this. I think I really like the splattering. I like the way that looks. Just makes it a little more interesting. Now, splattering is, you know, it's up to the individual, the eye of the beholder, as they say. So, you know, if you like it, if you don't, or you want more or less, that's really up to you. Now I'm gonna do a little black on mine too, because I kind of like that too, with the white and the black splatter on it. Now, the thing about splattering, if I go really fast, like if I can do very, very easy and make small splatters, or I can really like put it on there and really flick it to make bigger dots. So again, that's up to you how you want it to look. Okay, when I seem to splatter, I splatter everything around me. So you might want to put a cardboard or something around it so it doesn't do that. Okay, so that's it. That's my paintings. These are both very nice alone, or you can just put them together. You can make a pair. You can make them match a little bit or do them a little different. Anyway, that's, or you could just choose whether you want the blue background or green black background. But that's about it. That's the end of it.